Hey everyone, welcome to Dollar Games, and today we embark on a tragic journey. A journey into the abyss of storytelling so mind-numbingly awful, it might accidentally make you feel something. Maybe even cry. But buckle up, because these RPGs have the worst stories ever written. Stories so bad, they made me reconsider everything, including my emotions. So let's dive in. Nier Automata is a masterclass in how not to tell a story. First off, it makes the catastrophic mistake of assuming players want more than just stylish swordplay and flashy particle effects. Instead, it tries to shove in themes like consciousness, grief, rebellion, and the ever so cheerful concept of inevitable decay, all wrapped in a plot where androids, who totally don't have emotions, spend dozens of hours spiraling into philosophical crisis. It's exhausting. I came here to fight a robot moose, not to be emotionally dismantled by a Shakespearean tragedy disguised as cyberpunk. The game dares to offer multiple playthroughs, not because it wants to waste your time, oh no, but because it wants to completely reframe everything you thought you understood. Each route adds another layer of context, which is just code for surprise. You care about this now, and the worst part, you actually do. Suddenly you're investigating ruined cities, battling mechanical life forms who are somehow more relatable than half the people in your contact list, and unraveling a narrative that never stops asking why. Why fight? Why exist? Why do I feel things for a robot wearing blindfolds? I don't have answers, only feelings. Gross. And then there's the music. Oh, don't get me started on the soundtrack. It has no right being that good. Melodies you'll accidentally associate with raw emotion, quiet despair, and the sound of your heart being gently shredded by a composer with no mercy. Combine that with a story that keeps twisting the knife in subtle, beautiful, infuriating ways, and you get what is easily the worst story in JRPG history. A narrative so manipulative, so elegant, so emotionally overwhelming, I had no choice but to replay it 3 times. For research, though. For closure. For whatever's left of my soul. Terrible game. 0 out of 10. Would cry again. Final Fantasy X. The JRPG equivalent of an emotional sucker punch wrapped in blitzball and daddy issues. Let's talk about this disaster of a story. You've got the main character who's literally thrown into another timeline, or a dream, or maybe a hallucination. Honestly, I'm still not sure. He spends most of the game either shirtless or confused, and somehow we're expected to take him seriously while he hangs out with a stoic guardian and a blue lion who communicates through meaningless glares. It's peak writing. And then there's the romance. Oh boy, what a mess. Nothing says natural character chemistry like awkward swimming lessons in a glowing lake while a haunting love theme plays in the background. It's subtle, it's intimate, it's emotionally vulnerable, and frankly, how dare they? I signed up for swords and summons, not to cry over 2 characters expressing mutual affection with the emotional maturity of fully realized humans. Gross. Also, the whole narrative centers around a doomed pilgrimage to defeat a kaiju powered by sadness, which is just lazy writing, obviously. Who wants stakes in their Final Fantasy adventure when we could have just been collecting magical frogs or something? And the laughter scene? Oh, you mean the single most misunderstood, tonally brilliant, emotionally loaded moment in the game that everyone insists on mocking? Yeah, real bad writing there. Imagine crafting a moment so intentionally uncomfortable that people still don't realize it's supposed to be awkward. But hey, at least the game stops trying to be subtle eventually, and just emotionally annihilates you with twist after twist, all while the soundtrack quietly tells your heart you'll never be the same again. The worst story, clearly. Completely unplayable unless you enjoy character arcs, stunning world building, and ugly crying during the ending credits. And I definitely don't, not at all. Oh, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim? A game that asks the bold question, what if we told 13 intertwining sci-fi stories across multiple timelines and dimensions, using teenagers with giant robots as our delivery method, and somehow didn't screw it up? Spoiler alert, they didn't. Which is exactly the problem. The story is told out of order, with characters jumping through time, space, memory, and occasionally logic itself. It should be incomprehensible, a beautiful mess. But instead, it's a precision-engineered web of mystery, romance, and existential questions that somehow lands every single thread. You play as 13 different protagonists, and each one brings a new layer of confusion that should feel overwhelming. But no, instead you start piecing it together like some kind of galaxy-brained conspiracy theorist, with a corkboard and red string. The twists keep coming. The genre shifts every 5 minutes. Alien invasion, time travel, body swapping, it's all over the place. And the narrative doubles down on its insanity until suddenly, you get it. You feel it. You just like that. And just like that, you're emotionally attached to a cast of high schoolers arguing about nanomachines while fighting kaiju. It's embarrassing, really. Even the real-time strategy combat, which could have been a throwaway afterthought, ends up feeding directly into the story's emotional stakes. The more you fight, the more you uncover secrets, heartbreak, buried truths you weren't emotionally prepared for. And then, just when you think you've wrapped your head around it, the game delivers one final twist that retroactively makes the entire experience even better. It's manipulative, it's calculated, it's brilliant. Easily one of the worst JRPG stories I've ever played, because now nothing else is confusing in the right way. Thanks for ruining my standards, Vanillaware. Really appreciate it. Trails in the Sky second chapter, or as I like to call it, please stop talking, I'm already emotionally invested against my will. Nothing screams bad storytelling like giving every single character, yes, even the shopkeeper's dialogue that changes after every story beat. Riveting. I really needed to hear how the waitress in Grand Soul is coping with her brother's recovery arc. Thanks. Why focus on the main plot when you can be emotionally blackmailed by an NPC who sells bread? The worst part, the game has the audacity to follow up on every single thread from the first chapter. Characters grow, they reflect, they face trauma, process it, and come out changed. What a horrible use of time. I don't want catharsis, I want anime explosions and dramatic sword fights. Oh wait, it has those too? But with context? And consequences? And don't get me started on Estelle. She's just out here developing as a person, dealing with heartbreak and responsibility in a healthy, narratively satisfying way. Gross. She's supposed to be a plucky anime girl, not a fully realized human being who makes me want to cheer and sob at the same time. And the pacing? Absolutely criminal. SC takes its sweet time building tension, layering character motivations and setting up a climax that actually pays off. Who does that in a JRPG? Where's my final rush dungeon and last minute villain twist? Instead, we get a story that takes a slow, deliberate walk through grief, recovery, and resilience. And when it finally hits the emotional crescendo, oh, you feel it. Like a freight train driving by your own unresolved feelings. Just the worst kind of story, really. The kind that sticks with you forever, redefines what you expect from character writing, and makes every other JRPG feel emotionally shallow for a while. Terrible stuff. Absolutely loved. I mean, hated. Every second of it. Ah, Xenogears. The classic tale of a guy with amnesia, some giant robots, and a few mild philosophical musings that totally don't spiral into multi-layered exploration of identity, trauma, and the nature of existence. What a mess. Nothing says bad writing like a game that opens with anime drama and slowly escalates into a cosmic level fever dream of Jungian symbolism and ancient conspiracies. Honestly, who let this much ambition into a single PS1 disc? And why did they expect us to follow along without a PhD in theology and a spreadsheet? Gameplay-wise, it's even worse. You're forced to endure 2 entire battle systems, on foot and in mechs, each with their own resource management, combos, and strategy. Talk about overcomplicating things. Instead of just mashing attack like a proper JRPG enjoyer, you have to think, you have to plan, you have to decide when to charge your gear's fuel and when to unleash a special move, all while the game quietly judges you for not mastering the deep mechanics hidden beneath the surface. At this point, I'd almost rather fight a god made of light and sadness. Oh wait. And then there's the soundtrack. Because of course they brought Yasunori Mitsuda to score this disaster piece. Nothing ruins a good emotional breakdown like an achingly beautiful piano medley playing in the background while your favorite characters process the crushing weight of their past. The overworld theme sounds like it's gently asking you, "Are you okay?" And the battle music is so good, it tricks you into thinking you're making progress, until the story yanks you back into another existential spiral. Thanks, Mitsuda. You didn't have to go that hard, and yet you did. So yeah, Xenogears. What an absolute narrative catastrophe. A game that starts off asking simple questions like who am I, and ends up answering them in ways that make you want to lay down for a while. It's overstuffed, overwrought, and overambitious. It tries to be too much and somehow succeeds. The worst kind of story. One that sticks with you, challenges you, and maybe even changes how you see yourself. Ugh, disgusting. I'll be replaying it again soon. Persona 5 Royale is the worst offender of them all. Imagine playing a game where a bunch of teenagers with supernatural powers decide to fight back against a broken system. And instead of being cringe, it's empowering, emotional, and disturbingly relevant. Unacceptable. I signed up for turn-based combat, not a side of socio-political commentary with a talking cat. And oh look, the cat talks constantly about how I should go to bed. Thanks, Morgana. Nothing screams fun RPG like sleep schedules and emotional labor. Each dungeon or palace represents the distorted desires of people abusing power. Because apparently, someone thought it'd be cool to make every boss fight a metaphor for systemic corruption and personal trauma. I don't want metaphors in my RPGs, I want numbers to go up. But no, every confrontation ends in some character growth, some big monologue about morality, and a moment of self-reflection. The worst part? The game makes you care, not just about your team, but about your classmates, your teacher, your doctor, the ex-Yakuza running a bar, and that weird guy selling airsoft guns. Suddenly, you're deeply invested in the emotional well-being of Tokyo's entire population, and it's your fault for maxing out those confident ranks. And Royale? Oh, it makes it worse. It adds a new semester, a new phantom thief, and a villain who dares to ask genuinely hard questions about happiness, reality, and personal choice. The audacity! Instead of just giving us a nice, clean finale, Royale decides to emotionally suplex you one more time for good measure, then gently cradle your feelings as the credits roll. And the music? Don't even. Catchy bangers layered with amazing lyrics. Unacceptable. If I wanted to reflect on the masks I wear to hide my true self, I'd talk to my therapist, not Joker and the gang while fighting a god in an abstract concept of cognition. Absolutely the worst story in JRPGs. Stylish, heartfelt, and thoughtful. It makes me sick. Where's the skip button when you need it? And there you have it. 6 of the worst JRPG stories ever written. Games so irresponsibly well written, so shamelessly thoughtful, that they left permanent emotional scars. Titles that dared to have character development, thematic depth, and narrative payoffs, when all we wanted was to swing swords at monsters and collect shiny loot. Instead, we were forced to confront grief, identity, justice, free will, and the crushing weight of human connection, all while trying to manage our inventory. These stories had no right to be this good. They should have just settled for shallow tropes, half-baked twists, and forgettable dialogue like everyone else. But no, they insisted on being ambitious. They chose to be art. And now here we are, ruined, reflective, and replaying them at 3 a.m. hoping to feel something again. So if you're looking for the JRPGs with a terrible story, ones that'll make you think too much, feel too much, and ruin all future games for you, congratulations. These are the disasters for you. But proceed with caution. Or don't. But remember, you were warned. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell, and look out for more videos like this. I'll see you guys later. Take care.